And we're live. And we're live. Right. Share screen. That's there we go. So just wanted to let you know that in this, there's a link to the Q&A portion that we did last time. Question came up about when was North Newcastle rebuilt, and Mike Titus did the research. We have another link to this, so thanks to Mike for doing the research. You read through this, yeah?
It's a lot further in past than we thought.
So this was when it was sandwiched?
When you
sounds
were
like
saying it was talking about, was bringing up in the 1970s, and as they kept talking about it, and they did stuff, and they did stuff, I think closer to 80, they rebuilt it.
1971. What,
So this is all live and you can go and take a look through this, but it looks like it was 1970s into 1980, you said?
I think so.
Where was this, Kevin?
He went through all the town reports to get
Okay,
this
but
information.
where is this so we can read it later?
Under the agenda, the workshop agenda.
But tonight?
Yep, tonight's
Oh, okay.
workshop agenda can be found on our website.
Oh. I got that. I
Yep.
just didn't know.
That's also on our website, and this is, I guess, generally for the public who are watching, they can go and look at any of these documents that are available. They just click on budget workshop, there's a link to here. This is live and ready to go anytime, so as we add things, they can be added here too, but. And then it's just a matter of clicking through to the different documents.
so that's under the Q and A.
Yep, that's under Q&A. There's a link to Michael's research findings. I don't have an estimate from Seth. He had a bit of a weather event this morning, so I
Yes.
haven't heard from him. Seth offered some suggestions for this. I've now created a visual representation of for the board to look at. It's not perfect, but I've attempted to make it work. I think I need to share a different tab to do that. I guess I'll come back to that.
That's number 4, right, Kevin?
Yeah, number 4, I'll add a link to this eventually, but right now I don't have it ready for the public to play with. Just want to share what I've seen or tried to visualize and get some feedback from you to continue to build on that. I'm gonna pull that up. Stop sharing for a second. Or I can come back to it later. Maybe I'll do that. So, I'll come back to at the end. We'll play with the spreadsheet I made. It has some toggling, so it'll be fun to say bond, borrow, see what it does. All right, so let's jump to public services. You want to talk about this one, Michelle?
Yeah, we've had several submissions. Oh, I'm looking at private provider agency, sorry.
Start with public services.
Public services. Page 4 of your expenditures.
Not a lot to go through here.
Nope,
No,
3 things. Septic waste contract, which you signed in January. And
It
that's
hasn't changed
it
in
has
like
not changed in years
20 years.
yet.
something like that,
That's
yes.
a deal.
The transfer station, on the other hand, has changed quite a bit. And you just signed the contract at your meeting.
But this assumes an increase based on the past 5 years average. This assumes the next January through June's payments at an increase. That isn't reflected on the current contract, because they're a calendar year, where our fiscal year is July 1 to June 30th. So this is a little higher here with the assumption, so I don't end up with a hole in this budget.
I think you guys have probably spent more time than you wanted to on the transfer station issue already, but it just seems to me like if you go back to the first number there, let's compound it out at 12 or 13% a year increase, which is hefty.
Yep.
Do we have any say in that, or is this just a number we receive?
We can attend their annual meeting when they set the budget. They give us the opportunity to speak, but we do not have a vote at the table.
Yeah, okay, so no, we get the number and is what it is unless we want to do our own.
That's right.
At this
Yeah.
point,
Okay.
We did,
Right.
I mean, there was a little more interest and willingness to talk about a partnership. And we went through this in January to some extent. And I am in communication with the elected officials over there about whether or not the 5 communities that participate in that transfer station could be voting members. They were open to it only because I offered to help write a grant to redo the site, so.
Yeah, I remember that. You're gonna get them some money. Help them. Yeah,
That number is not
good
gonna,
insight, sorry.
oh, that escalation, would you say it was 12%?
Yeah.
A year, that's not gonna, it's not gonna level out, cause what we're talking with them, with their board, or what we proposed at the meeting was that they need to do some improvements to that
Some capital expenses.
capital
Yeah.
expenses.
Yeah.
And, so, yeah, so it's only gonna get a bit, it's only gonna expand, so, yeah. I think it's just the tipping fees, right, by and large.
Yeah,
What does that mean? That's Casella that's driving that number?
no. Their hauler is a select board member.
Okay.
So I don't think he's overcharging them on anything. It's the fees at the locations that he takes it to, which I think one of them is Casella,
Yeah, it's the disposal.
but not the hauling.
and no revenue from recycling pretty much anymore, or
No.
very little of it.
Yeah, oh, 7,000. Oh, you mean from like,
Number
yeah,
2.
yeah, from like,
Right.
waste, no, from tin cans, they get
Yeah, they
7
said
grand
that.
a year.
There used to be payment for cardboard and
Right.
Yeah,
numbers of plastic, and whatnot, no, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Doesn't look at us.
All right,
Okay.
what's next?
Let's see.
Any,
Provider
well, I guess any questions?
Yep.
We've held general assistance pretty flat at 2,000. We haven't really spent that, and we do get reimbursed by the state to, what is it,
70.
70%?
It's a small number and it's hard to know what we need, I guess.
Yeah. We do work very closely with Lincoln County Navigators. It's a organization partner between the county and YMCA to help folks who are in need. Because usually the threshold at which they can get general assistance is much more challenging to help people, so they always point there first.
If we get reimbursed at 70% and we're only spending 50%, why don't we budget more?
It was not much we
Well, you
budget.
don't get-
so
you
much
don't get
better.
reimbursed.
We only get reimbursed on what we spend.
We might,
We might, yeah. We used to budget a lot more.
Yeah.
In that line.
And it just doesn't get used.
It's a bellwether for the health of a community.
Sure.
So do you want to move on to the next? one?
Yeah, provider agencies,
Yes.
page 5 of this document.
Page 5.
Oops. You wanna talk about 2 particular organizations here? I mean, did you have any, we have a new policy on this.
Yep.
Touch on that?
We do have a new policy just setting up parameters of what people have to do to qualify to ask for funding. So I emailed it out to everybody who had previously requested and got responses that they got it. So most people were pretty happy with it. The only thing I've been asked a lot was, when is it due? When is it due? So I just have to go back and then we might ask for one more edit from you guys, an amendment, but that's in the future.
A due date for
Yeah,
certain aspects of this.
yeah, because I think we have one due date, but not the other tiers. So the other people who fall into the tier where they're just a repeat ask and it's the same amount, I think there's no due date on that tier, so people were a little confused, so we can add that easily. We did have, and I'm gonna just click on the summary of funding requests so I can see it. We had two come in late after we had done the book and presented the initial budget. And that would be LCTV and Veggies to Table. Erica had come in, Erica's from Veggies to Table yesterday, and Kevin said it was okay for her to not have to be here tonight.
What's her request and
Her request is 2,000. And LCTV is asking for 15,000 again.
Well, Veggies to Table submitted the paperwork on time.
Yes, I got it on the 29th of January.
Oh, I thought it was all due December 31st. Policy.
We're gonna race. See. There we go.
There's the policy. New in it. Inactive. So Veggies to Table is a new or inactive. Is there a date for that? Yeah, on the no later than the last day of January, so they're fine.
Yeah,
So they submitted paperwork after we developed this document, but before.
right, before the
Okay.
deadline,
What was the amount they asked for?
2,000.
Okay.
And
they're
yep,
in Newcastle.
correct. And on that little funding request sort of summary, Kevin asked me, I had them in the table to tabulate everything. And Kevin said, let's put them to the side until the board decides they want to add them back on. So that's why they're over to the right on that.
LCTV, it was received on the 12th of January.
No,
It says 1/12/26.
no,
There's a
It
letter.
was, I can check that. It's, if I put the 12th, it might have been the 12th, but could have been the 23rd, actually. Hold on just a
Well,
minute.
don't we give them until the last day of January?
oh, see, here it says no later than the
That's
last.
the
business
newer
day of
inactive.
December.
Hmm.
Oh, that's why we don't have a date specifically for,
Actually, it was the 23rd. I apologize. I'll fix that right now. It was the 23rd
Yeah.
of January.
When we receive the letter?
The letter's dated the 23rd.
Yeah, and it was the same day. Cause he had heard that I hadn't gotten a letter, and then I said, no, I didn't, and so he sent me the letter, on the 23rd. Larry sent me.
So if we put those two in, our total goes up.
Mhm.
Can I bring up one thing? Was our, well, it's putting in
What was-
$18,000 more, right?
Yep.
7:15.
15, oh, she only went two, yep, okay, great. So it's about even then, yeah. Wasn't the historical thing with LCTV that they wanted 80% of our franchise fee amount? That's what I remember him saying, but I don't know if I'm correct or not, in which case that's $8,800.
I just remember them saying, you get the franchise fees and then we get it. Does that sound?
So I remember it always was a pass through.
Yeah,
Well, if that's a pass through, then we only are getting about $11,000 a year now.
it actually, I noticed it's much less this year. I think we have, I double checked it when I emailed you.
Yeah.
And it was the same figure that's in our sheets, the 5,059 or something.
5,900,
Yeah.
800, yeah.
Yeah, and,
Cord cutting is real, man.
yeah,
Yeah.
So if it's a pass through. Should that number be reduced?
How do you mean?
He's requesting 15,000, we're only getting 11,000.
So we're subsidizing that.
But did the request ask for 15,000 or did the request ask
15.
for 100% of the
No.
franchise fee? Then it's 15. That's the request.
Yeah, I agree. I thought we were just gonna put this out the town vote. And
Yeah, they follow the rules here.
Yep.
Which
We
sounds
have
like they did.
2 petitions that have to be passed on, definitely. You can't change those.
excuse me?
We have 2 that were petitions that are a set amount. You guys can't change them.
Yep, the petition.
Yeah.
Yep.
The like the YMCA and
Yep.
Healthy Kids.
Yep.
Yeah.
And those will have to go on warrant as separate questions.
I think it's up to you how you, if you have it in one block or you have separate ones, and a lot of towns do separate so that.
No, I meant like if somebody does a petition, I believe Maine law requires it goes on as a separate question.
It would go on as a question, yes.
Like it's like separate from the budget, separate from literally its own warrant question.
Only if you didn't add it to the budget. If you add it to the budget here. You don't have to do that.
Well, wait, did they take, do we have a policy about petitions? Is that what they're?
Yeah, that's what this says.
Responding
The
to.
provider may opt to submit a formal petition to the town clerk. I don't know if they did that. Did they do round 2 here? Or did they do a formal petition? Because the other version is a written request to the select board.
No, it was actually, we checked the voters. It was a petition.
That's what I'm saying. If they actually did a formal petition, we gotta check Maine law because I think. If you collect signatures, regardless of what the petition question is, you've done the work of getting the set number of voters. It has to go as written on the warrant.
Yeah, there might be some confusion though.
Yeah,
Let's
because
add that as a lookup thing.
Not in that respect. I mean, in respect to what our policy says, the way the YMCA received that. And, you know, cause I think, my guess is they were just saying, oh, we need to do a petition. Cause it's asked for.
Or they were just doing belt and suspenders, like,
I think, yeah, I mean, I think
Yeah.
they're just, you know,
yeah.
they just said, okay, we have to do a petition, we do a petition. And I don't think they were saying, you know, gotta lock this down, cause we gave them $15,000 last year.
Last couple of years, last 2 or 3 years, they've gathered signatures regardless if they need to.
They have,
Yeah, cause I know. They've had the table set up. Out, after vote or after you leave voting, they gather signatures and that sort of stuff before, so.
They might-
It's more, I
yeah.
don't know if it's just well, it's better to have it than not. Kind of thing.
It's, yeah, so, if we have to do a separate question, we have to do a separate.
I'm
question.
not trying to be a stickler. I just
No, I-
wanna make sure we follow the law.
Yeah, absolutely, no, I'm with you.
And so the question is really, if a petition comes in and the board includes it in the budget, does it need to be a separate question on the ballot?
Mhm.
Or can it be just included as part of the budget? Well, we'll find out the answer to
I
that.
mean, I don't think this is gonna be as effective as we were hoping, since nobody's coming. You know, we have all of these lumped together, we broke them out as a separate question. But if somebody has a problem with one of them. You know,
they can't vote it down.
they're even not in the bill to question it because they're not here, for one. But secondly, they're all lumped together, so I don't know that it's effective in letting people voice their opinion on whether somebody's asking for too much or not enough or whatever.
So one option would be to. On the ballot, ask specifically each provider agency as a separate question.
We could always make that decision.
I don't know if it gets
I know
close.
other towns do it, I believe Jefferson's on the ballot, everything's on the ballot, and they list out every single one of them
As a separate question.
as a separate question. Do you approve funding A, do you? Each and every one of them, I don't think it's like a super long question, it's just
Yeah.
the agency and the amount.
Mhm.
And it's a,
So we have
yes or no,
16 agencies here,
I mean,
or 15.
you know, that's 15 articles or whatever
Yeah.
to the sheet, but.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna be 40 or 50 articles usually, yeah.
I bet I know why they, at least the YMCA did it, because there's other towns that would resist it if it was just at the select board level, so.
Potentially.
So, you know, they're just maybe used to that
Yeah.
process, just getting petitions.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. There's some things to add to the calculator. Or at least put them on there for decisions to change,
It's not a huge number either way, but
still.
yeah.
So we're adding them in.
Well, we're gonna put them on the calculator and have the board
Okay.
make those changes. We'll talk about later, we'll separate them out as separate questions. We okay to move on to public safety? Casey, you there? Oh,
It's like I didn't get a text saying you can't get on.
right, we talk about debt service.
There's not a lot to argue on debt service.
Yeah, you know. Pretty much.
Well, I can go into my spreadsheet with other debt service options.
Page 12.
While we're here though, let's talk about that service. It goes, you know. Part to our conversation that we had last week about, taking on debt. So we're gonna increase.
So. The fire truck's paid off in January of 2024. I'm sorry, 2027. Wow, I've been staring at numbers too long. And then the Academy Hill matures in August
Yeah, I
of
got an extra
2030.
J in there, sorry. August 2030.
So would we, when does the 120 show up?
120
Yeah, for debt service,
for the new.
for the new million.
If we borrowed. If we were able to borrow tomorrow. Or this fall, or this spring. The first payment would be in. January, and it would just be it'd just be an interest payment. In fiscal year
Right,
27.
because we're not actually taking the loan out until we get the fire truck.
Correct.
We're not taking the loan out until we pay Hager for doing the road work,
Yep.
right? Okay, so,
Show you,
But if we're able to get the bond, we could lock in that rate, even though we don't take the money until later.
correct.
Now, if we have to go in fall. We have, if we have to go into the fall bonding period. When would that interest payment for a fall bond fall?
August
Of
of the
the,
next year,
So-
so
so
you
even
skip
be
this,
towards that.
FY 27 wouldn't have a payment.
and that's probably what we're looking at.
Well, given the email I sent today. About our audit being behind by 3 years now. Maine Bond Bank isn't going to include us as part of this bond. So. One, we have to get our audit. In top order before August. When the next application goes in, she's keeping our application on file. She's not gonna ask us to resubmit, we just need to get those audits done by August. August is the due date for the application, November 5th would be the closing date. Problem is, if we receive the truck and we have this Hopkins Hill already done. We need to either. Do a bond anticipation note, a ban for a short period of time, and that'll come with some interest. Which would hit FY 27.
So do we? We assume that and put the amount that we figure a band would be in. A contingency,
Yep,
just. Go.
Yep. you
Or
put
we
that.
pay for it all out of the general funds and with the interest.
But then they have to make a request for that. If we put out the general.
We'd go to a special town
Yeah.
meeting, we'd keep the special town meeting date that we've already set for the 29th.
And have a special meeting to change the warrant,
Change the warrant to go,
or just include it in the June warrant.
We were gonna post it tomorrow, so just that one. It's gonna be,
well, that's another way to do it, like, we know we've got the funds in the general fund.
You mean the unassigned fund
The
balance?
unassigned fund balance, we know we've got it,
We
so it's,
just pulled a whole lot of it out to take care
oh
of
god, it's all gone for Lynch Road,
Lynch Road.
never mind.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if we
it's
get
all-
reimbursed for Lynch Road by August, then we do
But
have
we
the funds.
cannot-
We won't,
I
we
can't
won't.
count on that.
we won't, no. Or
There's Casey.
we literally push. We can't push delivery of the fire truck gets on schedule.
Yep.
But we can push Hopkins Hill a year.
And we have funded it.
We do have cash for it. It's the fire truck that don't have funding for.
And then once we get the bond, then you just pay us.
Yep.
I think even if the town voted on the 24th to approve the bond, the select board still has the authority to take out the loan.
We have 2 years.
Yeah, I'm just saying, we're not, to take out the loan.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just saying, we still have the authority to take the loan or not take the loan.
Correct.
Yeah, we're just
That's
telling the town, this is the
This is the
financial
plan. Yeah.
and,
And
yeah. So it's a procedural vote. But, yeah.
I got complicated fast.
Yeah. Well, I think the easiest answer is we don't have to make this decision tonight.
No, we don't.
Yes.
Well, Casey's now on. Hi, Casey.
Hey there, how's it going?
Right. Do you?
So I couldn't be there in person.
All right. This works too.
okay. So public safety pages 7 and 8 and line item expenditures.
What's up? What's down?
I don't know, do you want Casey to speak to this or?
Sure.
There's a lot of zeros.
Yeah, there's really not much of a change. You'll notice a change on dry hydrants. The bridge on Pond Road. No, Jones Woods Road, I'm sorry. Jones Woods Road is getting replaced by the DOT, I believe, this summer. That's what the plan is anyway. And they've offered to install a dry hydrant if during that project, so that's some time and materials there to get that done. And I'm having trouble seeing, but I think is that the SCBA line has
Yes.
0% above that?
Yep.
Okay, I thought I saw a negative or something there. It was hard to see, but I think that's really the only changes on that. There we go.
We took 4,000 out.
Oh, okay. Yes, that's right.
Down 4,000.
Yeah.
Down 4,000. Yes.
Because, hopefully we're getting a whole lot of new equipment here soon.
Well, we are. We won't have to buy bottles and whatnot, so that should cover our flow testing and the regular maintenance that we need.
Okay. And. Oh, animal control, that's out of your hand.
Whoops.
Public safety ambulance services. We know what that amount is. It's down from the prior year a little bit.
Why is animal control up so much? Did they give a reason? That's 71% increase. It's huge. I mean, it's not all, the money total's not a lot, but that's a big increase.
Well. It is based on. Hours. And the hours, their rate for their. This is our contract for animal control is with Lincoln County Sheriff's Office.
Mhm.
And the staff they have in there saw a sizable increase in their contracts. So this is an assumption. So prior years are falling in the 4,000.
Right.
We were going.
We're
over.
already over budget this year.
Yeah.
So this is our estimate as to what. Next year's gonna
Okay,
cost.
it's not a contract amount.
Not a
It's
contract
based
amount,
on
it's based on
hours.
hours and only when we get calls.
Okay,
So If everyone's dog behaves,
If everybody behaves about their dogs,
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
it's not the dog's fault.
Never. And also, I think animal control also, may be wrong on this, but may also take into account, vehicle collisions. So like your car deer accidents, that they have to
Mm.
remove an animal from the roadway, that sort of thing. I believe that probably gets filled out, seeing as that's not a, I mean, if there's no car there, like if somebody hit a deer and then the next morning somebody see there's a deer in the middle of the road and they call the sheriff's office, there's no current motor vehicle accident or anything like that. They just need somebody to go out there and drag the deer off to the side of the road.
Mhm.
I believe that is probably a outside of the scope of work of the sheriff's office if they weren't our animal control officer.
It's not Louis' job.
I do see they have a dedicated vehicle now.
And that's also like, if they have to pick up animals, I've seen it multiple times from like a car accident or a fire or something like that, they have to transport the animals to the animal shelter. The owner can't take care of them at that moment or something like that, so they come out whenever, middle of the night or whenever, so.
Yep, that is a role on the ACO takes care of, and our shelter is Midcoast Humane Society. They provide, by law, where every town is required to have shelter. What they send their animals to, I think we get a pretty good price for that, because think about trying to maintain our own, and so there's a facility in Edgecombe in Brunswick. Facility in Edgecombe I know is in pretty rough shape. I know they're also looking for a location around this area to build a facility. So I partnered them with the county to figure out how they could do both of their projects together, but we'll see. And then wild animal control, that's it's like beavers. What we find around here.
Yep.
As a nuisance. And that's public safety. Casey, anything else?
No, I don't have anything else to share, but I'm happy to answer any other questions there might be.
Just see an increase from the sanitary district,
The hydrants.
The hydrants?
that's just cost of inputs, I imagine.
That's they've increased their costs. Yeah, this was back in just, was it? Well, last
When-
January, we talked about, we had Scott come in and talk to us about how the hydrant formula works.
Yeah,
And how-
I believe when he came in, he said it was gonna be like, there was gonna be increases over the next 3
years.
And the big one was the initial last year, or this current year that we're in, and then there was the smaller. And it was all based off of a graph and, yeah, it all set up through.
We've also had 3 new hydrants installed in town, so there's gonna be extra rental and maintenance and all that.
Okay.
Yay. And they're on a calendar year as well.
So did we put it up there?
I don't know.
It's hard to know.
hard to know, yeah.
I think I did. Okay, cool.
Casey, where are the new hydrants?
There's one actually right across the street from where you are now, down where in front of where Ed May used to live. There's one at the corner of Glidden and Pump Street, and there's an extra one down at the end of Glidden Street.
So there's one across the street from, there's 2 then right here within close proximity, you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
When they installed the new water line down through, they ended the water line down in front of Ed May's house with a hydrant.
Okay,
They didn't consult me at all with any of these locations.
I was gonna ask like who gets to,
Yeah.
stay whether we have more hydrants.
Right, well, then they can charge us more money, right? If they put in hydrants without us knowing it, they just,
Hey Casey, has there been an update on when the new truck might be coming?
Far as I know, is probably in September.
Of this September?
Yeah,
No.
Yes.
been almost 2 years since we first voted on
Doesn't
this.
seem like it's been that long.
It has, March 2024.
Wow.
and the old truck is,
Sitting out back.
yeah, what are we doing with that?
Yours if you want it.
That's on me.
Okay,
Even Lucas popped in today to give me a hard time about it. He and I sat down and drafted the bid stuff. I just need to get it posted, so.
bid,
We're gonna bid it out. Let
bid
somebody
it out, okay,
put it out there to
Yeah.
bid
okay,
and somebody can buy it
excellent.
and take it
Just have
off
fun
on
with
a,
it.
on a truck, because it's not going anywhere right now.
Yeah.
That meeting, that guy came in, and wanted to buy it.
I know, I got his
Sold
number.
it.
I'm gonna give him the bid document when we,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Casey.
Thanks, Casey.
All right, I wanna show.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too. Love that.
Well, while you're pulling that, just as a quick, where we had a pause, I pulled up Jefferson and I pulled up Damascus, and they both have their provider agencies as separate questions on their warrants. And
Individual separate question.
individual, Jefferson has 7 provider agencies and Damascus has 10. So we've got quite a few more. Now we have 16, or are we up to 18? With adding the other. we're
Just
up to
adding
15.
one more.
Okay, we're up to 15, okay, just by comparison, but they do it separately. Those are just 2 I happened to look at, but with a lot less of them, so. We have more questions.
I show 13.
Hmm?
13 according to what I have.
And it's not too,
Well,
not too.
yeah, because I counted LCPD.
Sure. And
Okay.
Well, and actually that Mid-Coast Maine Community Action is not even one of them, right? So we have 12.
Correct. They haven't sent anything in a while.
so I went through and looked at everything from 2020 forward. And 2020 is a little shaky, but at least 2021 through now.
Is this on,
It is, this one is not available yet. I just worked
Can
on
you
it.
can you
zoom?
zoom it up? If you go it up.
There we go.
Um,
That's good.
So I kind of went through, we've had 5 years of working on about 1,000-foot section of reclaiming and base paving Academy Hill. And so this year will be the final shim and overlay. All said and done. So that's doing show. It's probably about 3 million. Yeah, about 3 million. For all of Academy Hill. Anyway, so I went through and made some assumptions on numbers based on Seth's information from prior years and this year. About shim and overlay and depth and trying to cost out as much of our roads as possible. And I gave them numbers here to try to get an idea of, what it might cost if we did this long-term, like 10-year lookout. And so this gives an idea of annual appropriations and then the debt service. And there's particular items that I did as assumed bonds for, just because they're much larger projects. One being the Glidden Street redo, along with paving all of the roads around there to do it all at once. And then the larger project of the stormwater here at Liberty Pleasant and some redesign associated with the drainage for all of that. And I pushed those out to now, of course, getting down here. So this question is of bond. So this is it a bond, the amount and the year? So if it's bond, it goes and goes through the formula to determine. Just like we've done with the recent projects, I just did a snapshot of that for now, but it is that you can change that to no, and it's a cost today. So if I change this to no, it won't do it. Not yet, that's why I haven't shared it. But I looked at Liberty, this large construction project at 750, and I looked at Glidden Pump Cross Stewart at 1 million. I have no idea if those are accurate, I just made my own assumptions, so. Yeah, the visual is. I couldn't find when Lewis Hill Road was last done. Or when Lynch Road was, so I don't have numbers in there, but it is pretty good. And it's before 2020. But this gives you an idea of. What our annual appropriations have been. Or would be. You can see staggers here because, certain large projects are bonded that year. So then your bond starts to go up. So the red line is your debt service. And then it peters off because I haven't mapped out beyond 2032, I think. So I was trying to figure out how to visualize this. This only shows about 12 years, and it shows your percentage of your roads and other infrastructure projects. Annual appropriations back in 2020 were all 100% paid for with the amount, and then you took on the debt for Academy Hill Road, and that's what a lot of this is here. And then it would bump up starting in 2030, 2028, 29. So the percentage shifts. So this is where you start to see, you're paying more in debt service.
I think Academy Hill, wasn't that in 19?
Project started in 19. It wasn't borrowed until you didn't have your first payment until 2020. And it was just an interest payment in 2020.
So yeah, that gets ugly in 31.
So the other thing that I think we should overlay on this is is public safety.
That was my next step. It just took me better part of the day.
What?
And then I was looking at if you bond, so it says if you bond Hopkins Hill Road, you're gonna now have about $630,000 sitting in the road reserve. So this could be used to level out years that are over, I actually made it 1.1, but. Not 1 million. So you'd have, a little bit of loss of that in those years when you have projects that are over. And so that levels this out. And all that does, those spikes. Interesting. That's just a thought, a way to try to do that. Without, depleting it completely, but having it in case you have an emergency or a major need.
It's not a huge depletion.
No, it isn't. And they keeping it level. I mean, we're currently at about 1.2 now. Where we're spending between debt and capital needs, we're spending about 1.2. Which is awesome.
Yeah.
Next year, so when is Academy Hill? That's 2030.
First half of 20.
So next year, if you include the fire truck and Hopkins Hill. Calculated that we'll be at 350 debt service next year.
Yep.
In next year's budget, in 28.
Yeah.
28 will have about 350.
Yep.
I think what's really important to just. Rufus, you beat this drum a lot. I'm gonna pick it up for you real quick. These numbers seem big. And they're not even half of what we should be spending or what we would technically need to be spending. If we were to not be, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think that 1.2 is. I mean, we've talked a lot about the other night, we talked a lot about the different projects and the different needs, and it feels daunting how much we have to do. The problem is there's a lot that needs to be done tomorrow or in the next couple of years. But as you spread that out, I think that 1.2 in today's dollars is a good amount that the town's spending.
No, it is, but what I'm saying is that, and I'm not saying we do this, I'm not advocating that we double the amount we spend on power. And that's not what I'm saying, I'm just saying that as roads, as capital improvements wear out and need to be repaired, the amount of money that we put into doing it doesn't keep pace with the rate of decay.
Right.
So to meet the rate of decay, spending would need to increase by a substantial amount to meet the rate of decay. That's just to hold even. So we're still in as much as we're spending, we're still in a scramble to fix what's absolutely wrong. Does that make sense?
Not quite to the
So,
extent that we
then not
were
that
10
we
years
were,
ago,
no.
where it was a culvert literally washed out, and now we have to find the money to fix it.
We are doing incredibly well compared to where we were.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not saying we do more, we can't really do, sorry, Tom, go ahead.
No, it's fine. Where does the money come from to do that? Do we switch from current expenditures to bonds and
To
the money
increase.
goes to, yeah. If
To
we're,
actually put that in
if we're getting
action.
deeper and deeper in a hole, which I think is what you're saying with respect to the quality of the road infrastructure, because we're not spending enough to stay even.
Right,
I think that's right.
that's right.
Okay. So if we're gonna step up the spending, there are only two ways to do it. One of them is to borrow more and the other one is to dig into the budget more. And so something's gotta give in the budget if we're gonna do it that way, which I think implies that what you would really do is increase the amount of debt. Is that
That's
probably
probably.
what we would have to do?
I don't, let me put it to you this way.
Yeah.
I do not believe that there is a funding formula Newcastle could employ to actually get there. Because the debt service we would need to take on would be so high
Right.
that what we would need to raise in taxes just to pay for the debt service would be overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
So while we are doing good, it's important to recognize that we, just like every other town in Maine, simply cannot create a strategy to catch up,
Yeah,
period.
yeah.
It's not possible.
Yes, you can.
Well,
You have to allow for more value to come in your.
solution.
At status quo funding model without including growth, which is
That's what we gotta do.
what we've been working on. That's the
Right.
other side of the coin.
Uh-huh.
That's the other side of the coin. So we can have that conversation, but it's different. If we're just talking about budgets and raising money and doing bonding, you cannot catch up,
Yeah,
period.
so you can maybe get better, but you're just falling behind less quickly.
Yeah,
Falling behind less quickly is what we're doing.
there was in
Kicking the
Bill
can-
Maine, there was that
Right.
Kicking
the
the can
dude
won't
that
work.
talked from Michigan.
Yep.
And he had it was a beautiful graphic and it showed you,
Mhm.
it showed you, exactly what you're saying, Ben, that you never catch up. It's
You
just-
can't catch up.
No, but it's not just our town, it's just
No.
the way it is. Yeah.
No, which is why it's so important. What Kevin just said, it's so important that we put more focus on broadening the tax base
Right,
than we put into this kind of work that we're talking about tonight.
right.
That is so much critically more important for the long-term health and viability of the town, any town.
Right, I mean, that's the only real solution.
That is
The
the
other
only-
thing you have to do is triage your roads and say, okay, these are just gonna go downhill.
This is
And
Band-Aid,
they're
Band-Aid,
gonna
Band-Aid.
keep going downhill because we don't have enough money we gotta divert money to,
Right.
Route 1B,
Well,
whatever.
That maybe is why having a debt policy is so important, where we're not going into debt for a project that doesn't last as long as the debt that we.
Yeah, it would help
So that,
inform
so
those.
that things are paid off within their life expectancy.
In reality, you should have a debt management policy that's tied to the ratio of increase in tax base.
Sure.
If you don't meet your increase in tax base projections, your debt ratio cannot increase.
Mhm,
Sure.
mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, linking those two makes a lot of sense.
And that's one of the challenges we face is, you know, we talk about some of these, our road commissioner talks about some roads wanting to reclaim, put a pave and then do a surface pave. It's less expensive to just do a shim and overlay. It doesn't last as long as, you know, essentially a reset. But the cost for a lot of the dead end roads in our community, the value that's generated from that road, that dead end road, essentially they're the private owners of that road, if you will. Visitors come, but they don't use it for getting through town. Residents who live on that road, if they were to pay for that improvement on that road, especially in our very rural parts of our community, it's gonna take 100 years to pay it off. If you just,
So what you're saying is tying capital improvements to tax evaluation maybe doesn't work?
No, well,
no, then you don't do that. You don't do
No,
that.
no,
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 no, you
no, no.
recognize, I'm
Well,
not advocating for
but,
that.
no, but what you are advocating for, I believe, if I can say this correctly, is any consideration of public infrastructure spending, whether it be through debt service, bonding, or straight out taxes, needs to be considered through the lens of have we increased the taxable base enough to afford to do this?
Yes. Yes.
If you're gonna dump $1 million or $2 million into a road that is dead end, but you see that there is a potential by doing that work to increase your tax base by improving that road, widening the road so you can have actual useful two-way traffic, the school bus to be able to go down there. And whatever different ideas that you come up with, then it seems like it's a worthwhile project, but if you're gonna go and completely rebuild a mile of road, dead end road, that's gonna be what it's gonna be for the foreseeable future, you're not gonna see anything else come out of that as far as the tax base goes, then do you consider doing a shim and overlay and keeping it status quo, just keep the road?
Potentially, I think there's both value and danger in thinking that way.
Mhm.
Because I think it can be taken too far where residents who live in more rural areas are penalized simply for the decision to want to live in more rural areas. I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
So it can really be said that, you know, biggest tax base value for our buck for development is, you know, here or here. Those are the only places we're going to invest infrastructure money, and I think that's faulty thinking,
Yeah.
because our job as elected officials, nonpartisan elected officials, is to treat all of the town as equitably and fairly as we possibly can. So a formula that applies specific areas to funding models in terms of revenue generation is a dangerous road to go down.
Yeah, I could be wrong, but I think it was that sort of thinking that is why Hassan Ave doesn't go through and Old County Road doesn't go through, right? Because there's, in the middle of both of those roads, there's maybe one or two property owners that own a big swath of property, and there are just no houses there, right? So though it used to be a cart track or whatever, at some point the select board decided, why are we maintaining this when there's other ways around it, and most people are coming in from one end or the other.
Sure, you could look at that too.
Tax base.
Well, there's no tax, I mean, there's all of the development on, on Hassan Ave I'm thinking, if you go in from 194, there's 1, 2, 4 houses.
Mhm.
And then there's a half a mile of forest before you get to
Yeah.
the other, so, yeah, why would we maintain that? But that's where that.
These are the big questions I think should consider, because if we do a feasibility study about reconnecting East and West Old County Road and what the potential development could happen or potentially would happen in Sheepshead Village because of the availability of a faster, more direct route,
Not having to take a left on
and
one.
not having to take left on Route 1, all of a sudden becomes a much more interesting place for people to wanna live.
Sure.
So those, we're kind of going down the rabbit hole here. I'm just saying like, it would be fascinating to next year, maybe, let's put it on next year's agenda, is to start the conversation about public works
Yeah.
with a presentation about taxable value increase over time. So that, well, while we're considering that portion of the budget, we've got the filter in mind of this is how much we grew this year compared to last year, over the last 5 years, or the last 10 years.
Um,
Does that make
Is
sense?
there a strategic plan for increasing tax base?
There is not a,
We had a comprehensive plan.
It's called the comp plan.
Yeah, it's called a comp plan.
board does not have a strategic plan.
So I don't see it as a rabbit hole. I think of really poignant conversation, because I think this is exactly what we should be talking about. And I think, you know, we need to, like I've said before, we need to leave headroom for projects that should legitimately be bonded, that are big numbers, that aren't necessarily maintenance or long-term maintenance projects. You know, like I think of VPI, you know, or the downtown traffic redevelopment program. The only thing stopping us from doing that in 2 years as opposed to like 10 or 15 is how much the town wants to pay for that.
Right.
If we went to the DOT tomorrow and said, we'll pay the $5 million, whatever it costs to do that, we're gonna take out a bond in our town. I think the DOT would say, and you're gonna engineer it, and we would say, yeah, we'll do the engineering. The DOT would say, fine. You know,
Nah, I think they would say it's our road, we have to approve the engineering.
Fair
But
enough.
if you're gonna pay 100% of it, we're gonna push that project through as fast as possible and let you do it.
Well, exactly, that's all I'm saying, is it would go from here up to here.
I agree.
And they would just, if
Yeah.
they don't have to pay for it and get state tax dollars,
Yeah.
then, so I'm just saying. If we look at it that way, what does a $5 million bond do to actually make an impact in our downtown density or downtown traffic pattern, which would lead to more density? So,
Yeah.
That's a great segue into next Tuesday. We're having a community meeting where I'd really like each of you to invite members of our community to attend. Cause this is the crux of the conversation. We have a lot of potential opportunity for change and growth. But it's important we hear from the public about, you know, their thoughts on things and hear some of the ideas that are coming forward. A lot of positive momentum.
Yeah.
And just need the public to show up.
One maybe useful addition to this,
Please.
if there is foreseeable grant opportunities, you know, I know on some of these projects, there's money available for design that you've maybe already applied for, or you know, the VPI or that sort of thing. If you could add a line that just says, here's an opportunity, maybe not until 29, or, you know, just to sort of help us. Like, it doesn't make sense to move forward on a project if this year, if we wait 2 years, we get 25% of it covered or something like that, you know what I mean? Just in terms of
Yeah.
prioritizing, having that sort of like outlook on what grants are available or coming down the pipe. That could be helpful.
So I have an application in right now for a design at the MEMA
Right,
for East Oak County Road to address that low point and maybe shaving off some of the high hills there.
yeah,
But it's just the design aspect of it, and that's a 95/5 or 90/10,
yeah,
so it's. The next phase would then be the ask to do the construction, so yes, there are opportunities, they're mostly tied to hazard mitigation.
sure,
So areas where we have high risk.
Yeah.
Those are the ones I can get grant funds for right now.
What do they call that? They call that like a whole funding strategy. Where you consider literally every possible avenue. There's a term for it here. Doesn't
I
matter.
don't know,
Okay.
I just get told about grants and try to find ways to fit our projects into.
No, I'm just.
well,
you know,
you do
like-
really well.
Yeah,
with it.
absolutely. No, it's
And
great.
that's why, like, I wanna,
But what you're talking about is adding in that
yeah, like,
to the whole
to
strategy.
the whole strategy, it's
Oh,
like,
yeah, it's a funding source.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's.
Instead of,
how it's paid
right,
for.
there's bonding, there's
Yeah.
raising the taxes, and there's grant opportunities. And so I think that third, that's the cheapest one going.
Yeah, it's free
Because
money.
he writes them for nothing.
Right.
You know, and does really well. So the more of that,
Right, max it out.
and also the more of that we can highlight. To show the taxpayers, listen, we're really trying to not raise taxes
Right.
and. Improve our infrastructure. You know, that,
Let's draft.
yeah, no, absolutely, and it's a great draft.
Is that it?
Not for tonight.
Want everybody to
Your
RSVP to the
text.
thing.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder if anyone else has the opportunity to do that.
We can invite neighbors and.
Um,
other people. 17th.
So let me just touch on that for a minute. While we're here.
Before we move on,
Just one quick thing, I mentioned Monday night, sort of in between session, about. That I had driven Timber Lane. Just to see the, you know, how bad it was, and, Ben had some time, I guess, was that yesterday? Today? I don't
it
know,
was yesterday.
they're all,
I know, they're blurry.
Blurry.
It was yesterday. It was yesterday, yeah.
he drove it yesterday and is of a similar opinion where it's. Yeah, maybe a little bit of, maybe some potholes could be filled,
Potholes, there's some shoulder work,
some shoulder work,
some
but,
potholes.
On a full.
but maybe we can throw $10,000 at it. And wait a year or two to actually throw the big money at it. I just wanted to sort of,
And I mapped that out in that spreadsheet, so
Oh,
once
okay.
I'm ready to, I'll share all that.
Great.
Cool.
This is we're hosting the series of facilitated listening sessions. To hear about the future of our downtown village area. So we'd like people to come share their opinions about things you love, what you don't like, what you would change and what you protect. This is gonna shape our Newcastle Village. We have some. I think Michael included. A really good one pager explaining what this is and the background behind it. And then our topic one. Is Tuesday at 9 AM here. In the fire station community room, so what makes Newcastle feel like Newcastle? We have a really good interactive presentation and conversation gonna happen that day. And then it will repeat online on the 18th at 6 PM. And then in March, we're doing one, the beginning of March, March 10th. We're gonna do one at Lincoln Academy on housing that works. And that'll be a repeat. So if you can make one in person and the other online, or they build on each other. So each of these conversations will help facilitate and the next set of that conversation. So there's 3 meetings, online or in person. And this is my ask to the board and the other members of the finance committee. Ask 5 people you know to sign up to attend one of the groups, or if they can make all 3, that'd be great, but yeah, we're just trying to get as much feedback as we can. We read Michael and I have read through the comprehensive plan, a lot of really good elements in there. I just want to make sure what we're focusing on trying to get done is gonna be supported.
9 to 10.
9 to 10:30.
9 to 10:30, it's about an hour and a half.
try to make March 10th.
So this is right on the website. Under news and announcements, right here, Newcastle Downtown Village Public Outreach. So we have RSVP, you don't have to, but it helps us plan. Thank you, that's my request for the evening. Anything else budget related?
What's our next one?
Not next week, because next week is winter break.
Right.
It's the following Wednesday, the 20th.
It's not the 18th.
No,
Oh, is it?
That's my, okay. I'm asking
Here,
that because I
let's
was
look at
already
budget
working
time.
on the agenda, so I need to change that.
February 25th.
Yeah, I was asking for the public, I have the.
Yeah, our next workshop will be the 25th, so we have a week off.
General government, harbor, planning and development.
We'll look at the revenues and then we'll talk more about the school and county budgets. And you all received an email from me showing you the school budget is a little higher than what was initially discussed. I know there's a budget workshop,
The 25th.
the 25th, at what time? At 4. So there's a finance committee budget workshop.
So you could just.
Go
do
from
like
that to
4
this.
hours Straight at budget.
Woo-hoo.
I think that's that.
You wanna get a Red Bull or something, huh?
Okay,
All right.
thank you all.
Awesome.
Yeah.